Artistic director Tina Packer of Shakespearean Company is on stage this summer playing Cleopatra in the company's production of Antony and Cleopatra at the Founders Theatre. In her 60s, Packer has returned to her British acting roots, found new creativity, and transformed her personal life.
Oh, Antony! Do bravely, horse, for knowest thou whom thou movest.
So I was an actor in England and acted with some really good people, you know, and I was at the Royal Shakespeare Company, but I also did a couple of those television series, and I wanted something sort of a deeper experience than the one that I was having on stage. I switched to directing, so I started directing plays, and especially Shakespeare, because I loved Shakespeare. You know, I love the language, and you really own the language as an actor, and you're thinking everything that you're saying. It really does make it much clearer for the audience that you start. I mean, what happens when you get turned on to Shakespeare is that the meaning is so dense, but you have to hook into it. Do you know what I mean? And if you speak it with the whole of your body, you should never read Shakespeare silently. You should always read it out loud. The Ford Foundation gave me a very large grant to research the visceral roots of Elizabethan theatre with a group of American actors. This is in the 70s. You know, what happens if you sword fight every day? What happens if you you know, you're working on your voice all the time so that you've got a much greater range and octaves. I wanted to start a theatre company where I could put all these ideas into practice. For 30 years I've been putting this company together, Shakespearean Company. We were building a theatre where there's really very little funding base. And so it's been a long, hard haul to get the company up and working. I thought it would take me about 5 years. Well, it took 30 years. And essentially, I'd gone away from acting. What happened last year was that my son was playing Hamlet. He's part of the company, and we were doing Hamlet, and the director really wanted me to do Gertrude because she thought it would be fun. I said yes because I thought, okay, well, why not? It's you know, Gertrude's not a huge part, but it's a good part. It was while I was working on that, and then the actor who was playing Claudius, an actor called Nigel Gore, I really liked working with him. We really clicked on stage. It was that getting back on stage as Gertrude that made me think I really want to do this. So where I am in my life was probably just about where Cleopatra was in her life. Well, and really getting back in touch with my body, which was what essentially happened, because you can't act without being in touch with your body. And acting, these two very passionate women, you know, started making me feel, okay, I can come alive again, and I don't have to spend my day behind the bloody desk all the time.
I was a morsel for a monarch, and great Pompey would stand and make his eyes grow in my brow. There would he anchor his aspect and die with looking on his life.
I started reconnecting with my creativity as an actor, and you know, thought, well, where have I been all these years? This is what I started off as. I was an actor who wanted to go further and deeper in her craft. So I thought, I better get back up there and see if I can actually do it. It's changed my life, you know, it's really shifted my life. Now, of taking on Cleopatra and interacting with Antony on this very deep, you know, very deep way that changed the world and, you know, had shattering consequences for everybody, was evidently a fascinating woman. Her first lover was Julius Caesar, and she had a child by him. Great Pompey, Gnaeus Pompey, possibly was also her lover. And then Marc Antony. The difference was that she fell in love with Marc Antony, and he with her. Shakespeare's written a story about middle-aged love is what he's written a story about. So he talks about their grey hairs amongst the brown. She says she's wrinkled deep in time. She talks about my salad day, and I was green in judgment, cold in blood. There's really the historic Cleopatra, who was a very rather plain woman, a very, very able administrator. She was politically very savvy and managed to maneuver her kingdom for quite a long time. I mean, with Cleopatra, one minute I'm maneuvering a kingdom, the next minute I'm, having the most ecstatic sexual relationship with with my lover, and the next minute I'm hauling a servant across the room and hitting him. You can't get better than that. It's an intensity of experience, the experience of living that you can't get in life. Well, the truth is, my mum just died at 97. We're living a lot longer, and certainly since I reversed my life, I feel better than I did 10, 15 years ago. So, I don't think we have to go gently into that good night anymore. But I'm expecting to live to 105. So I think there's my brain has never been better. My body's doing pretty well as well.
So he calls me up. Now I feed myself most delicious poison. Think on me, that am with Phoebus Amorous Pincher's